Alright guys, I am back. Took a month off. And you know what? Kind of needed it. Just to regroup on a couple of things. But man, it is nice to be back behind camera. UFC Vegas 94. Yes, we are up to 94 on when it comes to Apex cards. UFC Apex 94. Officially in the books. It was headlined by Virna Jandiroba versus Amanda Lemos. Honestly, it wasn't really a card that I didn't really care for to begin with. I was actually debating on whether or not to come back and do this card or return and just go straight into UFC 304, which we all know that it's being headlined by Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad. Coleman, you got the interim title fight on the line between Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades. Was really considering that one, but I was like, you know what? I got not much to do today. Let me get back on the grind on today. And honestly, the main event had the most stakes, obviously, on that card compared to anything else. There was a couple of fights on that card where, to be honest, when I say we, I mean like we as a public, like we really didn't care for. It was just one of 44 UFC cards out of the year that just needed to get filled in. And personally, I'm actually getting to the point where I'm like, I'd rather see less UFC cards, not because I don't want to see fights. And I know people are saying, oh well, a card is better than no card. Actually, no. Sometimes it's better not to have a card. And to me, this one just didn't fit the mold. I'm gonna type in Virna Jandiroba on Tapology, and looking at the card, all right. And I watched maybe like 6 of these fights, right? I could have watched the whole thing. Still haven't seen Brian Kelleher versus Cody Gibson, and although I already know how that fight was gonna go about, just because Brian Kelleher hasn't been the same ever since that neck injury, and he was no world beater to begin with. I was a big fan of his, but he's now officially has a losing record in the UFC. He's 8-9, but losing to Umar, Mario Batista, I get it. Losing to Cody Garbrandt, getting knocked out, and then losing in the first round again by. Actually, wow, I didn't even recognize this, but. He's on a 4-fight losing streak, which I knew about, but all in the first round. And ironically, all of them at no more than, all of them are in the 3-minute mark, if not below. I mean, obviously Cody Gibson, he almost got to the 4-minute mark in round 1, but yeah, all of them in that 3-minute mark, if not below. But yeah, Virna Jandiroba versus Amanda Lemos. Honestly, I had Amanda Lemos winning this fight. Going into the fight, I'm thinking that Virna, she wins. She's most likely going to be able to. Her next fight will be for a title shot. If Amanda wins, then Amanda's going to be getting that weird situation where she's going to have to face like Yao Zhanan, or it's going to be in a weird situation because she got her ass kicked in Boston last year against Zhang Weili. And Zhang isn't the type of fighter that fights often. She probably fights twice a year at best. More often than not, it's usually once a year. And that fight, when she ended up fighting Zhang Weili, it was 25 minutes of ground and pound and just getting your ass beaten down. And, the UFC's in the have her as a top 5 gatekeeper. All right. And Virna Jandiroba, she's been on the winning streak. Virna, she coming into the fight ended up beating Lupi, ended up beating Marina Rodriguez, ended up beating Angela Hill. Lost a decision to Amanda Hebuz, and then prior to that, she beat Kanko Murata. I can't remember that fight, to be honest. Remember she lost to Mackenzie Dern, which it was a little bit of a controversy. But outside of that, I mean, Virna, she's been it. She's been it in the octagon. I get it, quirky style. she's going to have to take you down in order to win the fight. Amanda Lemos' weakness is, takedowns and stuff like that, and she's a Muay Thai fighter. The girl, she has power, rare power for that division, all right, for 115, and she could put the lights out of somebody. She can be the woman version of Mike Tyson at strawweight, but she has bad hips. She's also getting older too. She's 36 or 37, so she really can't stop much of any type of takedown. And Virna, that's what she did immediately. And I want to say the first minute of round one, takes down Amanda Lemos. Grounds and pounds. Amanda ends up, I don't know why she was grappling with her to begin with. I would have just kept the fight standing. Amanda, when they were striking, she obviously looked like the better, crisper boxer, and also looking like she can actually do some type of damage inside the small cage octagon in the apex. But whenever Virna took her down, it was pretty much a wrap. And Virna in round two, she did more of the same thing. She took an uppercut. Virna can't strike for shit, guys. She throws a very uncomfortable 1-2 combination, and it looks slow as hell, to be honest. I don't really see Virna, beating much people if she can't take them down to the floor. And she knew her avenue to beating Amanda was to grapple and take her ass down to the floor. So that's what we ended up getting. And we saw Virna ended up trying to go for, it looked like she ended up getting the back of Amanda, trying to go for the RNC. And then when Amanda thought that she was in the clear, Virna ended up throwing up that leg around the neck area, and then transitioning to a very sneaky armbar. And it was only 10 seconds left, and she ended up turning, belly flat onto the octagon. Amanda was just trying to figure out how to maneuver out of it, but there was nothing she could do. Virna Jandiroba was just cranking that arm, and Amanda Lemos had two options: tap or have an arm broken, and she tapped, and that was the fight. Virna Jandiroba wins. That was her first main event in the UFC. Go figure. A lot of these first timers, they get their first crack when it comes to getting a main event inside the UFC Apex, and she gets it done. Now what's next for her? She's in that very interesting spot. She can fight other girls like Yao Zhanan and stuff like that, but why would she take that opportunity? If I'm Virna, I'm waiting around. I want to see when does Zhang Weili want to fight. If she's available to fight soon, look, Virna didn't take much damage to begin with. You can do that. Knowing how the UFC tries to go, I'm pretty sure they're gonna try to do 3 title fights in November. MSG. I think Zhang Weili would like to fight again in New York City. John Jones is gonna be headlining that card. There's rumors that Conor is going to be fighting Chandler in December, so you know how the UFC rolls when it comes to championship fights. They're not going to try to have, Conor be on the card when there's champions below him. First of all, it wouldn't make any sense, and then also, they're not going to want to be paying these champions extra money on pay-per-view points. So, if I'm Virna, I'm sitting out. Tatianna Suarez, she's very unpredictable, and she's also very injury-prone, too. So I don't know if Tatiana's going to get the next title shot. I really do see that Zhang Weili fighting Virna. And in that fight, whenever the lines come out, I'm slamming the line on Zhang Weili. Zhang Weili is going to be a hoss, and she's going to beat that ass. And Virna Jandiroba is going to have to fight a stand-up game, because Zhang Weili is one of those rare cats where she can beat you on the floor, take you down, and dominate you. Or she can outstrike you and dominate you in that way too. So, Virna Jandiroba, I think you solidify yourself getting a title shot. Outside on that card, there was really not much to talk about. You had Steve Garcia. That was a good fight. we already knew what was going to happen in that fight. That was against Sung Woo Choi, where thought Sung Woo Choi would have a chance at least stretching this out, but Sung Woo Choi, good fighter. Steve Garcia just hits like a truck, guys. These Albuquerque boys, they know how to strike. They know how to lay that, these dynamite fists into people's heads, and we already knew how that fight was gonna end. Fight was gonna end by knockout. Steve Garcia has been on a 4-fight knockout streak. Honestly, I really want to see this guy fight Nate Landwehr. Nate Landwehr is one tough son of a gun. And I think Nate and Steve Garcia will just be one of those crazy fights that you normally would see at a bar. So make that happen. We also saw Hyder Amil. Hyder Amil ended up fighting against Jung Young Lee. Jung Young Lee ended up winning the road to the UFC. Hyder Amil, older, I think he's like 33, 34, undefeated, 8-0, and comes in and is fighting the winner of the road to UFC. Man, talk about fireworks. This looked like the modern day version of when Diego Sanchez ended up fighting Clay Guida, when they just started chucking them to each other. That's exactly what it felt like. Jung Young Lee fell into the trap of Hyder Amil because Hyder Amil can scrap, and I get it. His team is called the Scrap Pack, and I understand why they call him the Scrap Pack, because these boys just throw hands and throw hands and throw hands, and Hyder Amil got the better of it because he ended up throwing a 38 punch combo. How the hell do you stop a 38 punch combo? You just can't. And no wonder Jung Young Lee he started blocking these punches with his face. And good on Jung Young Lee. He has one iron chin, and he just ended up just getting stopped by the referee. He never got knocked down at all, but man, that chin just held up on a 38 punch combo. That is ridiculous. Hyder Amil ended up getting a performance bonus. Was supposed to get Brad Tavares versus the Iron Turtle. That didn't happen, but yeah, I mean, there was not really much to talk about when it comes to, UFC Apex 94. Next week, like I said, is we're going to Manchester, UFC 304. Leon versus Bilal. Bilal finally gets his chance. Tommy Aspinall, he is going to be defending his interim title belt. To me, it's actually the real title belt. Against Curtis Blades. I don't know how I'm going to be cooking it up right now. Me personally, what I have, the only two bets I have in line right now, I have Paddy Pimblett at plus 100 odds. I already had locked that in. I got that as a 3-unit bet. And Muhammad Mokaev versus Manel Kape. Manel Kape, I get it. He's a good fighter. I think Muhammad Mokaev has very good tools to stopping Manel Kape. I have that at minus 142 odds at a 2.5-unit bet. So, guys, I cannot wait. Me personally, I don't know how I'm going to start with this. I might go with the Chicago parlay, thinking that Bilal and Curtis might get it done. Although Curtis, I think, is a very good long shot, and I don't see that really happening. Although, I don't know. I might just do Tommy Aspinall versus Bilal Muhammad. I don't know. Something's telling me that Bilal Muhammad is going to end up getting this thing done. Do I want it to happen? No. Do I think that we're going to be miserable if this happens? Yes. But I don't know. I just think that Leon, he's got to do better, because I didn't like that performance that he had against Kobe. So that's all I got. Until then, guys, next week video will be coming out, and happy UFC 304 fight week. So then I'll see you guys later. Peace, guys. Good to be back. See you.